We're live. Hello, everyone. I'm Brody from Everything Board Games.
Hi.
I got Ben here. Ben, where you at?
I'm in Spain at the moment, in a city called Alicante.
Spain. So here at 7 o'clock, just past 7 o'clock. What time is it there?
2 p.m. in the afternoon, or just gone quarter past.
Awesome. And we got Alex Winter here. Alex, where are you at?
I'm in Melbourne, Australia, and it's just about quarter past 10 at night.
So it took us a long time to try to get a good time to, talk to all three of us. But, we found one morning, afternoon, and night, I guess.
Yeah, there's only 2 available time slots, so that all 3 of us could sync up with anyway.
Yeah. So Ben and Alex here have their game, The Brigade, launching on Kickstarter August 2nd here in a couple days. Welcome, first of all. So who came up with the idea first?
That'd be the Ben.
Yeah, so I came up with this one. It must have been 2 years ago now. I originally went to an incubator group where I met Alex when I was still living in Melbourne. And I had a different game that I was trying to produce, which, after a little while, I realised it was probably a little bit too ambitious to go out with miniatures game on my first try. Found for a new theme and something kind of original. I was inspired by this 30-second scene in this movie called Gangs of New York, where these 2 firefighting brigades run into each other at the scene of a house that's on fire, and they totally ignore the house and just start fighting in the streets. And in the background, everyone's running in and looting the house. Kind of the humour of that kind of reminded me a bit of Terry Pratchett's Ankh-Morpork kind of Guards series. And so it all sort of swirled together and became the Brigade.
Awesome. Now, a lot of people probably don't know what the theme of the Brigade is. Explain that. Explain like someone doesn't know anything except for the name. What is the Brigade?
My favorite pitch is saying that there's a town called Tinderbox, and they thought it was a great tourist attraction to build a pyromancer university in the center of it. And at some point, the fire chief has mysteriously gone missing. The pyromancer university is mysteriously caught fire, and now everyone's trying to fight to become the new fire chief.
There you go. Now, are any of you 2 firefighters? Like what?
I wish I was that strong and buff.
No.
It just kind of came along with the game, huh?
Yep.
So you 2 met in Australia. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. There's a board game design incubator group that's run at our local game store in Melbourne City called the Games Lab. And every month or so, somewhere between a dozen and a couple of dozen people get round and session, basically chop up a lot of bits of paper and pretend it's a board game and just play test and develop and throw ideas around. And so, yeah, we found our styles meshed pretty well, and we had some similar ideas and I guess, ways of playing and a kind of similar nature and skill set. So I kind of pleaded with Alex to help me out, to be honest. And that's how we ended up forming Red Genie Games.
So how has it been since, one of you is in Madrid and one's in Australia, like, how's that been? Trying to get this game going when you don't even live, too far away, close from each other.
To be honest, we didn't live close to each other in Australia either. Australia's a lot bigger than everyone thinks. And he lived west side or northwest side, and I was like southeast side. So we were direct opposites of the state anyway. So it hasn't changed that much, has it, Ben?
No, not really, to be honest. Most of our work happens on Facebook Messenger and via Google Drive.
Yeah.
There's been tough times, but there's enough overlap in the time zones that we managed to get stuff done. And we've got a team. Most of the other guys are in Melbourne as well. Some copywriters. The artist is in Spain, so that's kind of been handy for me to be here, to be close to him. So it's all worked out. Technology.
Yeah. Now to get back to the Brigade, what are kind of the mechanics? How do you play it? Why, what makes it fun? What is it besides the theme of it, of course?
I guess it's kind of an area control. It's a bit of a Euro in as far as there are no dice. So the idea is everyone takes a rival fire crew, and you start with a fire warden. You've got a firehouse that you can upgrade during the game that allows you more actions. And at the start of everyone's turn, they pick up a card which will determine where the fireballs from the uni explosion are falling around the town. And so as these fireballs fall, the houses around the town get more and more. And you move your crew around. You've got a set amount of action points every turn to move your crew around and the water resources that you've got between your crew and your water wagon, and just put out fires. So as you put out fires, you gain renown. And you become famous, and you can basically spread this renown about to claim the loyalty of the certain blocks and locations in town that you've been fighting fires on. And so from there, it's a bit of a set collection mechanic where a certain combination of locations will win you the game, or a certain amount of the same location will win you the game. There's also a state in the game where if too many locations burn down, then the town is considered evacuated, and it becomes a point scoring mechanism to win at that point.
So you can win in different ways.
Yeah, there are about 3 different ways you can win, and there's also a couple of different ways that the game actually ends, which does mean that you have to change your strategy quite often mid-game. You'll start going down one path, or you'll try and help secure that you can possibly go down 2 paths, and then you'll end up going down one of them because that's the way the fire is flared up, I guess.
Now, this game is for how many players?
It should be 1 to 4. We do have a solo mode, but we were going to release that as a stretch goal, I think. Is that right, Ben? We also have a co-op mode.
2 to 4 at this stage,
and
but essentially 1 to 4.
We'll also do a 1 versus 3 option, which I think a lot of people find interesting.
So a lot of different variants to play the game. That's what you're saying.
The game is essentially the same, but it's just changed slightly, and there's a couple of elements that are slightly different. It's a different experience in the end. Now,
what's the ages for this game? Would you recommend? I know on the box sometimes they're off. What's the lowest aged player you've had play it so far?
Play tested with 8-year-old boy. We ran a competition at one of the local conventions, and a 12-year-old girl won it overall, which was pretty awesome. So probably about 8+.
Yeah, I regularly play it with my daughters, and the youngest one's 8. She seems to have no problem picking it up. I played it with my niece as well, who's a little bit younger, but really seemed to have problems. So we're saying 8+, and we're pretty confident with that.
Yeah. Now, have you played each other with it yet?
Oh, absolutely. We've got a copy. Well, we play tested it, heaps and heaps as the rules were changing and developing. But we do have a copy of it on Tabletopia. So you can jump online if you're familiar with that website. And they've now published it live, so anyone can get onto Tabletopia and play the Brigade there at the moment. So, yeah, we definitely jumped on that a few times and played against each other. We're hoping to do a video of us playing that on Tabletopia as well. So we've got a playthrough from the creators.
Yeah. So who's the top fire chief?
That's a good question.
I don't know. I think it's pretty evenly split, Alex. I don't know where either of us have really got the edge.
That's the thing. Like it can swing in so many ways sometimes, and it's just a way of trying to plan ahead a little bit and have multiple strategies going at the same time. But yeah, I think we're pretty even.
So that's on Tabletopia. So, everyone can go there and try it out. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a button on our Facebook page that lets you just click and you can start playing it straight away.
Now, as far as Red Genie Games goes, how many games have been out by Red Genie Games?
This would be the first officially published one. We've been working on, like Ben said, he was working on something completely different and ambitious. We were working on that one at the same time for a little bit, and then sort of concentrated our efforts on the Brigade. And we've got another couple brewed in the back there.
So we can see some.
Yeah, so hopefully, depending on the imminent success of this game, we'll definitely be pushing.
So, a lot of us in the States don't know how the board game, hobby is and other places. Explain how it is there in Australia. And Ben, I don't know if you know what it's like there in Madrid, but, explain to us that.
No, we've got a huge board game scene in Australia. It's a lot larger than anyone ever thought. When the first PAX Australia came to, Australia, they had a tabletop area for PAX, and I think it just became so packed that the next year they had to double the size of it, and then the following year it was even bigger again. It's just huge. Every single table was full, and there were like thousands of tables. And I mean, we've had other little conventions around as well. Like I said, Australia is a really big place, but most of the population is sort of centralized around the capital cities. And I mean, like I hear in America, there's like a con every 2 weeks or something. You just have to travel, a little bit, maybe another state. But traveling from state to state in America is very different from traveling state to state in Australia. I think we've probably got about 3 or 4 smaller conventions throughout the year. But always full capacity. Doesn't matter how big they are, but full capacity of the board gaming scene. Yeah.
Ben?
Yeah, from the Spain side, I don't really know a huge amount about the gaming's at total. I have started a meetup group for board gamers in my local area, and we've probably had about 30 people sign up, although I've not had the time yet to put together an actual official meetup. I've got to find some locations around town and start a board game night. But from that, it would kind of indicate that there is a bit of interest in the field.
Yeah. So, I know y'all live pretty far and everything, but Gen Con, anything?
I actually am having a game at Gen Con.
I'm looking at Essen, depending on how we go with our translation and our orders in Germany. The biggest board game convention or industry conventions held in Essen in Germany every year in October. So I've got half an eye on that if I can find a bit of table space, and we've got some copies that I can demo out there.
Not far for you to travel either.
Well, comparatively, yeah.
Now, what board games got y'all into board gaming? What was that game that got you interested way, way, way back then?
Oh yeah, I think it was just Catan with the Knights and Cities set. My friend Jeff introduced me to Catan, and I was just like, "What? This is a board game? It's not Monopoly. This is actually fun." Hey, I think from there it was Munchkin, and I don't play either anymore.
I think for me it was just a group of guys that I hang out with who introduced me. It was probably Talisman, to be honest. This is like back in the 80s, so I'm dating myself here, but a lot of the first games were those early Games Workshop games like Talisman and Warlock of Flight Top Mountain and a few of the other ones. Probably the tipping point might have been Advanced Hero Quest. I really got into that in a big way, and that was kind of my first big box dungeon crawler type game, which is sort of where my heart's at. Yeah, Red Genie will get around to publishing a couple of the larger ones down the track.
Now, besides your games that you're making now, because of course they're going to be your favorites, what's your favorite game right now that's not yours?
Abyss by Bruno Casala.
Anything I can play with my daughters at the moment. So we got into Arcadia Quest that in the last Kickstarter. I think it was their last Kickstarter, and sort of got all the expansions and whatnot. So it's been a lot of fun playing with the girls into Arcadia Quest.
Yeah, you know, board gaming's fun with the family, and you know that's what I do. Is very fun to, you know, spend time with the family and all. But any more plugins for the Brigade before we go here? Anything else you want to say?
No, just look out for it. We're going to be, as the campaign goes through, depending on timing, we're planning on having some Tabletopia tournaments. So jump on the Red Genie Games Facebook page is the best place to find out what's going to be happening. And that's just, if you Red Genie Games in the Facebook, you'll find us fairly easily. And from there, we'll be organising, you know, events that will be happening. And yeah, just keep an eye on that page. It's where it's all going to be happening.
All right.
That's pretty good.
Well, thanks, Alex, and thanks, Ben, for being here. Remember, the Brigade launches August 2nd on Kickstarter, so make sure you back that. And thank you, listeners or watchers or however you're watching this, to, you know, spend time with us. And we'll see you later, I guess.
Thanks a lot.